Hello, I'm Maggie Hartley, the Associate Director for Programming and Events here at the National D-Day Memorial. Today, I'm at our Rosie the Riveter Garden to tell you more about the role of American women in World War II. During World War II, 16 million Americans, mostly young men of working age, served in the military. With these young men off fighting around the world, along with the demands of increased wartime production to sustain President Franklin D. Roosevelt's arsenal of democracy, unprecedented social changes occurred on the home front. Prior to the war, a common mentality was that women were to take care of the home and children, while men went to work. If they did work outside of the home, it was in what was then considered more feminine roles, such as typing, sewing, teaching, and nursing. However, with men at war, women were needed to fill non-traditional defense industry, office, and factory jobs. During World War II, over 6 million women entered the workforce. Women labored in construction, drove trucks, cut lumber, and worked on farms. They also worked in factories, building munitions, planes, trains, and ships. Some women even worked as code girls, trying to decipher enemy-coded communications. Another 350,000 women would serve in the military, however, not in combat roles. It would not be until 2013, or almost 70 years later, that the ban on women serving in combat would be lifted. During World War II, women worked as nurses, drove trucks, repaired airplanes, and performed clerical work. Those who joined the Women's Air Force Service Pilots, more commonly known as the WASP, flew planes from factories to military bases. Now, many have heard of Rosie the Riveter and her can-do spirit, proclaiming, "We can do it." This propaganda campaign was designed to encourage women to work in factory jobs while reassuring men that they would not lose their femininity. Some factories even went as far to provide cosmetic lessons to keep their Rosies from, in their perspective, looking rough and losing their feminine appeal. Regarding the recruitment of workers, white middle-class women were preferred, followed by minority men, and finally minority women. Minority women, particularly black women, struggled to find jobs in the defense industry and found that their white counterparts were unwilling to work alongside of them if they were to secure a job. After the war, most black women were fired and forced to resume work in the domestic sphere as maids and cooks. Women in the workforce during World War II would crack open the door to equal rights and profoundly impact the civil and women's rights movements of the later 20th century. Women showed that they were capable of working outside of the home. However, at the end of the war, with men coming home, women were laid off in large numbers. However, by the 1950s, 32% of women were working outside of the home, proving that World War II had solidified the notion that women were in the workforce to stay.